Hello and welcome. I have some more reflection images that I went down to the river, the same river I went the other day, but I went the other side of the road this time to see if I could get some new images. So this is a continuation of my last video, and I actually have 3 images that I was pleased with, which I am going to run through with you the basic process that I used to get the final image. I will be showing you the raw file straight out of camera. At the end I will show you the finished product, so I hope this is going to be of interest to you. Some of it was done in iColorama and some was done in Capture NX2 software. Let's get straight into the first image. This image, I was really quite pleased with the colours as it came out of the camera. The thing is, with reflections in rivers or puddles, it does tend to consume colours, because you just end up either with the colour of the water or the sort of sediment in the puddle or the stream. But I think the green at the top and the pink, I think the pink was the sort of sediment in the bottom of the river, but the green was sort of leaves, which I think added to the image. I liked the main tree with the fir tree just off to the right of it. So yeah, I was pretty pleased with the starting point of this image. So we're going to put it in iColorama and try and manipulate the colours to my liking. In iColorama we have a lot of options to manipulate the colours. We have enhance, pastel, sign, tint, low-mo, duotone, sepia and black and white. We also have a lot of other settings that you can use to change the colour. So what I do is I will go through all the various settings to try and pick a colour palette that I am happy with. Now I can't actually tell you which one I chose. I think it was in the sign category, but you can see how these change the colours. Some of them are really nice and some of them aren't so. But anyway, when I eventually found one, this is the actual colour palette that I used as a starting point. So having opened this up in Nikon's Capture NX2, we're going to play with it and see what result we can get. So I usually play with the contrast, the saturation and sometimes colour booster to sort of see what results we can get. So the first thing I did in the contrast, I've given it 20%, which has given me that. I then in saturation gave it another 20%, which has given me that, and I was actually quite happy with that. Now, as I explained in my last video, I do use the unshaped mask for these images to make them pop a little bit. Now, as I said, you've got to be very careful of the side effect of grain and ghosting, but some images you can get away with it and some images you can't. In this case it actually was okay, but you see how it really makes the image pop a little bit more. So that was all good. I checked for my lost highlights and shadows. Not so fussed about losing some of the shadows, but I do like to try and control the highlights, which I did. And the final thing I did, actually that was already cropped. The final thing I did was give it a little crop. So yeah, I was happy with that. Very pleased with that, the way it came out. Actually, in the crop, why I cropped it is I didn't really like this top edge here. I thought that would be better nearer the top. So that was the only reason I cropped that. So yeah, that was the first image. Well pleased with the way that one came out. Now this image, I actually played around with this for quite a long time because I thought it had potential. I ended up with a final image that I was umming and ahhing about, and I actually looked at it the following day and I wasn't really too happy with it the way it was, and I was going to delete it, but I didn't really particularly. I thought the tree on the left was a little bit too dominant, and I wasn't really too pleased. I was going to delete it, and then I thought, no, I'll have a little play with it. And I put it into iColorama, and which I'm going to do now, and I'm going to show you what I did with it. The first thing I actually did is I put this into Photoshop Elements, and I just got rid of that little white branch up on the very top left hand corner. I thought that was a bit of a distraction. I tend to use Photoshop Elements to do the sort of brushes because I think it works better than the NX2. So I'll show you what I did with this image in iColorama. I have opened up a blank canvas, a blank white canvas. This is ever so easy to do. I just make a blank canvas in Capture NX2, crop it to the size I want it, and then transfer it over to iColorama. And in this case it's an 8 by 10. So we'll just open that up, and I go to Effects, Blend, and I want to blend the image I've just been discussing into that. Now, as I said, I wasn't really very happy with the actual image itself. So opening it up on this blank canvas, I then can tap on the fill and it stretches the image, and I thought that suited it a lot more. I then applied that setting, and I then again went through all my tones until I found the one that I was happy with. And once I'd found that, I then reopened it in Capture NX2. So here we have the image with the colour palette that I chose from iColorama. So I'm just going to play around, or I did just play around with it in Capture NX2. I gave it a little bit of saturation, which didn't really need a great deal, just a tiny bit. I then gave a little bit of colour booster, which again didn't do a great deal, but just brought it out a little bit. The last thing I did, I cropped it. I still thought that this tree on the left was a little bit dominant in the image, so I brought the crop in a little bit just to make it a little bit smaller, and I thought that suited the image absolutely fine. Auto retouch brush, I can't remember what I used that for. Oh yeah, that's right, there was this little black branch up here which I didn't particularly like, so I got rid of that. And that was it. That was the final image, which again I was well pleased with. Funnily enough, I put these on Instagram, and this one is one that everybody seemed to like more than any of the others. I personally wouldn't say it's my favourite, but you know, everybody to their own taste. Now the next image I'm going to show you is I actually blended these two images together. This one I've just shown you how I did, and this one was from my last video. So we're going to open these up, already processed images, in iColorama, and I'll show you how I blended the two together. So we've opened up my base image, which is this one, and we're going to go to Effects, Blend, and we're going to blend in my second image, which is this one. I am then going to go through the various blend modes until I get one that I think is suitable, and for this particular one I chose screen. Now I wanted to just sort of move the actual image, or manipulate the image a little bit to where it's sat. So I just expanded the image a little bit and just sort of played with it until I got it in the position that I wanted, which was roughly there. I then applied that setting, and again I just went through the various colour tones until I found the one I liked. So that was a pretty straightforward procedure, but I thought with nice results. So we then opened it up in Capture NX2, and I did really nothing to this image in NX2 except just check for lost highlights. I didn't give this image an unshaped mask to make it pop. I did try it, but it brought a lot of grain in the image out, which unfortunately I don't think it's actually grain as such in the image. It's the sort of it's the effect that the water gives you, and giving it an unshaped mask can sometimes sort of multiply that effect to a degree that it looks like grain. So this one I didn't actually do that too, and that was it. That is basically my 3 images that I took the other day that I was really pleased with. One thing I forgot to sort of mention in my last video is I was explaining to focus on the actual reflection in the water rather than the sort of surface of the water. You can't do that in autofocus because it just won't pick up the reflection. You have to manually focus it, but you know, hey ho, that's no big deal. So yeah, that was my 3 images that I was pleased with. I'm really finding this a lot of fun to do, and I've actually started a separate page on my website called Reflections for this series of images, if you want to take a look at my website. But yeah, as I say, I'm thoroughly enjoying it. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this second part of the video. If you have, please leave a thumbs up, and thanks very much for watching. Until my next trip out on Reflections, this is John Dexter saying bye for now.